We are now working in Module 12, and in this module we're going to talk about working with the names feature that Excel has. You have the ability to take a cell or a group of cells and give them a name. And that way, if you needed to use them in a formula, you could. Maybe you needed quick access to those particular sections in your workbook. You could actually just jump to those names very quickly. Let me go ahead in this first section and talk to you about how to create range names. There's a couple reasons you would want to use the names feature. One reason is if you have a larger file, then you might have certain tables or certain sections in the file that you want to jump to quickly, and having names set up would allow you to do that. The other thing is when you start writing formulas, you'll actually be able to use names in place of ranges, and then that way you'll know what you're looking for, what you're looking at when you're looking at a particular formula. Let's go ahead and take a peek at how the exercise is set up, and then we'll dive right into this. This is our company, Books and Beyond. This is the International Sales Meeting, and it looks like they're tracking all 4 divisions of the company. You can see there's Australia, they've got Europe, South America, and Canada down on A51. Now it looks like for each of these, they're also tracking the salespeople for that particular division, their figures for January through August here, and they've got totals over in column J. It looks like row 13, they've actually decided to total each month. Then they're averaging each month on row 15 and 17. They're figuring out the highest number for each month. And they've done the same thing all the way down. And real quick, while we're here, if you notice these green indicators in the top left corner of these cells, that indicates that Excel thinks there might be a problem with the formula. You always want to check those out if you see those. Let's go look at this. It looks like it says the formula omits adjacent cells. This particular formula is missing row 27. Let's just fix that real quick, and then we'll hit the enter key, and then we can copy that across. That's pretty easy to fix. This is probably the same thing. Let's go look at it. It looks like it's missing row 27. We'll fix that. We'll hit the enter key and then copy that across, and then we'll do the same thing down here. We'll hit the enter key and copy that across, and that way we won't have any problems when we start working with our different divisions of the company here. Let's see if there's any names already set up. Remember, this is the name box right here. Right now, all you know it does is takes you to a particular cell. But notice that there is a drop down right here on the name box, and here's the word European. These are where the ones that are already set up basically live. If I click on European, notice it takes me to the European division of this company. Now, Excel didn't know that. Someone actually had to select that range and then give that range a name. I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to use Canada in our example here, so we'll scroll down. I'm going to select the entire division. In this case, it's A51. I'm going to hold the Shift key and click on J63. Now all you have to do to name a range is click in the name box and type whatever you want to name that range. I'm going to call it Canada, and make sure you hit the enter key. If you do not hit the enter key, it won't be on the list. Now when I create these, I don't just see that they're on the list, I actually click to make sure they work, because it's very easy to be clicked somewhere else when you name your range. Let's see if I can go to Europe and then flip back to Canada, and it works perfectly. Alright, let's scroll back up to the top. Let's say I'd like to name this one Jan. All I'm going to do is select the range, put in the word Jan, hit the enter key, and now that one's on the list as well. You can name as many ranges as you'd like. A couple things to know about naming your ranges. First of all, your names cannot have spaces. If you wanted to say South America, you could, but you couldn't have a space in there. If you wanted that little separation, you could use a dot, you could use an underscore. It does not work with a hyphen. If you happen to type a hyphen there, you'll notice that name just won't even be on the list. Now let's say that I'd like to name this one February, this one March, this one April, all the way across. We could name them individually, but Excel will actually do this for you. Let me show you how this works. I'm going to start by selecting the word February, and I'm going to go all the way down to I-11. Now when we create these names, it's not going to include row 7, but I selected it so that it knows that is the name that I want to name the range below. All you have to do is when you have these selected, go to the Formulas tab. You have a whole grouping here for names. What we want to do is create from selection. Notice that top row is checked in this window, and that's because it recognizes there's text in the top row, and that's what it's going to name each one of these. All you have to do is click OK, and now they're done. If I go back to my names list, you can see they're all on the list here. Now this list is alphabetical. It's not going to be set up by the way the months happen. Just know that. You cannot change how that list is set up, but it works great. If I click July, you'll see I go to July and it doesn't include the word July there. Now I can also do this left to right. If you think about it, this is Alice Long, and this one here is Lawrence Olson all the way down. I'm going to select from the word Alice Long, which is A8, all the way over to I11. I'm not including the totals because that would actually double my figures. But all I'm going to do now is come up to where it says Use in Formula, Create from Selection. Notice this time it says Left Column, and that's checked. I'm going to click OK, and now those should be on the list. And you can see that these actually have 2 underscores. The reason there's 2 is one is for the space, and then one, if you look at this, they had a comma, and range names can't include commas either. Again, I'll be able to use these and go to any range that I would like. Now let me show you something else. Range names are always absolute values. If I went to sheet 3, and then I come to my names list and I choose Jan, for example, Jan will always mean sheet 1, the absolute value of the range B8 through B11. Always. It's not going to take me to sheet 3, B8 through B11. It's always, always, always an absolute value. Keep that in mind when you start writing your formulas. What I want to do now is talk to you a little bit about how to manage these names, because you may want to delete some of these names. It could be that you want to change what a range name refers to. There's a lot of different reasons for managing the list of names. Let's go over to section 2, which is the Managing Names section.